There's a moment in every life when you look in the mirror, and the person staring back doesn't feel like you anymore. Not because you've failed, but because you've lost connection with yourself. There's something in those eyes, tired, distant, hollow. A part of you is still alive, moving, speaking, pretending. But another part has been silent for a long time. And that silence, that uneasy mix of awareness and discomfort, is where true transformation begins. One, when the inner world begins to crack. People like to think change begins with a big decision, a bold turn, a single defining moment. But it doesn't. Real change is quiet. It begins as a silent rebellion inside the mind. You start questioning what you once believed. You feel a growing tension between who you are and the patterns you keep repeating. And then, one day, you ask yourself, who am I when I'm not playing any role at all? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That isn't just moral advice, it's a declaration of awakening. Because before you can change what you do, you must first change how you see yourself. 2. When old beliefs become a prison, we live inside invisible walls, built not by the world, but by our own minds. Since childhood, we've been handed stories about who we are. You're not good enough. Don't dream too big. People like you don't belong there. They sound harmless, but over time, they become a quiet code, a subconscious program that decides what you dare to reach for. You don't even notice it happening, but every choice, every hesitation is filtered through that small, familiar whisper. No, you can't. Carl Jung called the journey out of this prison individuation, the process of reuniting the fragmented parts of your soul. Abraham Maslow called it self-actualization, the unfolding of your true potential beyond fear and survival. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself when you begin to think differently. But to me, it's simpler than that. It's the battle between the pain of staying the same and the fear of change. And only when the pain of standing still outweighs the fear of moving forward, do you finally step out. Every time you challenge an old belief, you're not just changing your attitude, you're rebuilding your brain. That is the greatest human project. To reshape your own mind with will and awareness. 3. Identity, where all change begins. You can try a dozen new habits. Wake up early, eat clean, stay disciplined. But if, deep down, you still believe you're unworthy, weak, or doomed to fail, every effort will eventually collapse. Real change doesn't begin with what you do, it begins with what you believe about who you are. A messy person can clean their room for 2 days, but soon the chaos returns. Because deep down they still believe, I'm just a messy person. But the moment they start saying, I'm someone who values the space I live in, something subtle shifts. That single thought, small, almost invisible, begins to tilt the compass of identity. From that point forward, the new behavior isn't forced. It flows. Because when your identity changes, effort becomes unnecessary. Action stops being an act of will and becomes a reflection of who you already are. 4. When the old self fights back. There comes a moment when the old self begins to rise again. It hates change. It craves the familiar, even when the familiar is what's been breaking you. You'll feel disoriented, doubtful, lost. And if you don't understand what's happening, you'll think you're falling backward. but you're not. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity," because adversity is the gym of the soul. It's where the ego gets tested, stretched, rebuilt. Every time you choose to face rather than run, you're teaching your brain a new command. Fear does not mean stop, so don't be afraid of the chaos. That confusion, that discomfort, it's proof that the old wiring is coming undone. It's the sound of your mind reconstructing itself. 5. Honesty, the medicine of healing. No real change can happen until you dare to be honest with yourself. Not the kind of honesty that condemns, but the kind that understands. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? What pain have I still not faced? Because every emotion is data. Anger tells you your boundaries are being crossed. Sadness reminds you something within you needs to be grieved. And anxiety, it signals that you're standing between two identities. No longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. When you finally have the courage to look at it all without judgment, without escape, you reclaim the driver's seat of your own mind. You stop being controlled by what's unspoken and begin to live with awareness, deliberate, grounded, awake. 6. Environment, the mirror of the mind. You can't grow a new life in toxic soil. If you want to change, start with what surrounds you. Your space, your habits, your people. Every object, every conversation, every routine whispers into your mind each day. This is who you're choosing to become. So clean your space, reorganize, redesign your surroundings until they reflect the person you're becoming, not the one you're trying to leave behind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your environment is the extension of those thoughts, the physical echo of your inner world. If your mind is your temple, then your environment is its reflection. Shape it with intention, and watch your identity rise to meet it. 7. Removing the mask. Since childhood, you've learned to wear masks to be loved, to be accepted. You became the good child, the strong one, the funny one. But one day, the mask starts to suffocate you. You grow tired not of the world, but of the performance. You realize you can no longer breathe inside the role you've been playing. And then, something within you breaks, softly. You stop trying to impress. You stop needing to prove. You just want to return not to someone new, but to yourself. To the version of you that existed before the fear. That's the moment of ego death. Not the dramatic kind, but the quiet dissolving of illusion. When you no longer crave validation, when control loses its grip, when winning no longer matters, you begin to simply exist. No mask, no performance, no pretending. Just presence, pure, unfiltered, and finally, free. 8. Pain, the silent teacher. In every rebirth, there comes a stage when you think you're falling apart. But you're not breaking, you're releasing. All the grief, the anger, the fear that's been buried for years is finally coming into the light. It's not here to punish you, it's here to leave you. Tears are not a sign of weakness, they are proof that the soul is cleansing itself. And every time you allow yourself to feel fully, you're clearing the path for a new version of you to step forward. One day, you'll realize you never became someone new. You simply returned. Returned to the part of you that had been buried, beneath fear, false discipline, and other people's expectations. You stop reacting out of impulse and start choosing with clarity. You stop needing to be loud and start finding strength in silence. That is psychological maturity, not the absence of pain, but the wisdom to use it. Not the end of fear, but the courage to move, even while afraid. Conclusion: awareness and evolution. Transformation never ends. It's the breath of life itself. Every challenge, every failure, every heartbreak is a new threshold calling you forward. You can't always choose what happens, but you can always choose what it means. And the meaning you choose will define who you become. So don't ask, how can I become better? Ask instead, which part of me am I still protecting, the old one, or the one that's ready to rise? The truth is, you weren't born just to survive. You were born to evolve. And one day, when you look back, you'll smile and say, I didn't just live, I became. Because every time you rise after falling, every time you choose awareness over comfort, you're proving to yourself that growth isn't a destination, it's your nature. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone walking their own path of transformation. And if you're ready to keep growing with us, hit subscribe, join this movement of awareness, and let's evolve together. Leave a simple comment below. I choose to evolve. Let that be your promise to the person you're becoming. Thank you for watching.